One of the biggest struggles I've gone through in this whole hybrid lifestyle is trying to find a way to make progress in the gym as well as running simultaneously. For me, it always felt like if I was progressing in one area, then the other would suffer. So if I was making good gains in running, then my gym progress would suffer and stagnate. However, I might have finally figured out how to overcome this. Over the past month, I've really focused on building the perfect body composition to improve my lactate threshold while maintaining my lean mass and strength. But the thing is, you and I are probably in very different situations. Where I wanted to improve my running while maintaining my mass and strength, you could be trying to do the opposite, or you might be suffering in both areas. So in today's video, I'm going to give you the framework to follow so you know exactly where to begin. Let's go. So I'm going to start by talking about some of the benefits of a body composition to really get you motivated to give it a try. So back in December, I ran my first sub 25k. This was something I really wanted to work on for a while. I really wanted to get it. And as a result, I cut down to under 80 kilogram, which is really quite light for me. I've been training in the gym for years and I've always averaged around between like 82 and 86 kilogram. I noticed my strength suffered in the gym as a result, and I wanted to build it back up, and I set a target to rep 100 kilo for 5 on the bench. So my main goal in the gym was strength. With my running, I was really focused on a marathon, and I had a ultra marathon after that to focus on. I just assumed that I just needed to eat as much as I can, high carbs and high protein, just everything. Over the course of like 5 months, I ended up gaining about 3 kilos, which isn't a lot really, but it is in terms of running. And I noticed that my lactate threshold and my ability to run as fast went down. So now I was getting stronger, but my running times were suffering. About a couple of months ago, I started using a heart rate monitor with my runs and started really getting into looking into heart rate data, and I've realized how important it actually is with running. And when I look back at some of my intense sessions back in December or towards the end of last year, I can actually see the drop off in my ability to tap into those higher heart rate zones. Whereas in December, during my 5k and 10k runs, I was easily hitting over 180 beats per minute. 6 months later, I couldn't get close to that. So obviously I wanted my running times back, but I didn't want to sacrifice the progress I'd made in the gym. So this is where I started to look at my body composition. All I really had to do was calculate my BMR and figure out how to balance my macros, and I started to see improvements very quickly. Now my lactate threshold is up, my strength and lean mass is up, and my body fat is down. And I've done all this at the same body weight, 83 kilograms. So with a recomp, you're going to get to a good level of weight and BMI. And this is going to be your foundation to progress in both areas. Once you achieve this, strength, muscle mass, and your ability to run fast can all go up at the same time. Also, as you cut down on body fat, you'll notice some weak areas in your physique that need a bit of working on, and you can really start to improve them as well. As my body began to change, I noticed that my upper chest was lagging in comparison to the rest of my physique. So I really started to focus on this area, hitting it at different angles, trying different exercises and things like that. So you can do this as well once you've done a proper body recomp. Another benefit to all this is that you can really start to take control of your diet and get control of your eating habits. My relationship with food has really improved since I've done all this. I don't overeat anymore and I don't throw anything away, whereas before my appetite was all over the place. Some days I'd be ravenous and I couldn't stop eating. Other days my appetite wouldn't be nearly as strong, and I had no idea how much I was actually eating. Now that's fixed, I'm in a much more consistent eating pattern, and I don't get energy crashes later on in the day from eating too many carbs. So I'm going to talk about how to do a body recomp. Before I do that, I want to mention that a body recomposition might not always be the best thing for you. For example, if you're a strong, bulky gym lad, someone who's been going to the gym for years, got a good amount of strength and muscle mass, also relatively high body fat, and you want to improve your running times, then a cut might be what's best. Or vice versa, you might be a skinny runner who wants to build up a good physique in the gym, and so you need to put on some weight to do that, to build a good amount of muscle. So regardless, if you want to do a body recomp or if you want to do a bulk or cut, you can still use all the information in this video. You just need to adjust it based on what you're trying to do. So the first thing you want to be doing is calculate your BMR. This stands for base metabolic rate. Go online and search BMR calculator. Enter your height and your body weight, and it should give you a number of your daily expenditure. And then you add to this based on your activity level. So for me, this is around 3,100 calories. So if you're doing a body recomp, you want to eat as close to this number as possible. If you're cutting, you want to eat under, and if you're bulking, you want to eat over. So for a long time, I thought I just needed to cut. I tried 2,800 calories and it wasn't working. I was starving all throughout the day. I was very weak in the gym. So I upped it to 3,000, still same thing, very hungry throughout the day, low energy levels as well. It was only when I went online and done this calculation that everything started to fall into place. So you really don't want to skip this step, it's very important. Alternatively, there are BMR machines at most gyms you can use, and these will give you more data to use and go off if that's what you want to do. So that's one of the most important steps done. And next, all we got to do is calculate our macros. Now, high protein is the key here. You want to make sure that you're eating 1 gram per pound of body weight daily. So for me, this is 180 grams of protein. Now we need to keep in mind that not all protein is equal. If we compare, for example, chicken versus peanut butter, they're both really quite high in protein, but the body doesn't utilize all of the protein in peanut butter nearly as well as it does with chicken. So chicken is therefore a superior source of protein. So I think peanut butter has a 70% absorption rate of protein versus chicken, which is pretty much all of it. It's anabolic as fuck. If you really want to figure out a certain food's protein utilization by the body, then just go on Google, search that food, and then PDCAA score. So this stands for Protein Digestibility Corrected Amino Acid Score. And we want to get 70% of all our protein sources from foods that have an amino score of 0.9 or above. This is vital if we want to build a sick physique on top of all the intense running that we're going to be doing. A good rule of thumb here is that animal sources are usually the best go-to for protein. Things like meat, fish, eggs, whey, and dairy. So next, we want to limit our carbohydrate intake. Any excess carbs we consume that aren't utilized during our training will be stored by the body as fat, and this is not what we want. When I was training for my ultramarathon earlier this year, I just consumed so many carbs because I thought I'm just doing so many miles, I'm doing so much training in the gym, I'm training for strength at the same time. I just need constant energy and as many carbs as I can get. But this wasn't the case, I was just overeating. What I failed to realize is that outside of all this training, I was pretty sedentary, and so I didn't need to consume that much. I also thought it was mostly about sugars that I had to avoid, but all carbs are the same really, some just absorb faster than others. So you want to find a good balance for you and eat lots of healthy varieties. Consume simple sugars like honey, fruit, as well as more complex carbohydrates like pasta, rice, and potatoes. Figure out the right amount, just listen to your body. If you undereat, you feel a lot weaker in your training. However, if you eat too much, you feel very lethargic and have energy crashes throughout the day, which is what happened to me. So I now eat 200 grams a day. So you can start here if you want and then adjust this based on how your training's going. Also, if you're doing a long run, like 30 kilometer plus, then you want to increase this amount the day before and on the day of your run. You want to make sure that your glycogen stores are full because you're going to be utilizing all of this when you're out there. We also want different types of carbs based on when our activity is. So if we're eating pre-workout, then we want something fast, quick digesting. However, if it's post-workout, then we might want something more slow digesting to replenish our glycogen stores and control our energy levels. The rest of our calories will come from fats, and we want to make sure we're getting lots of good quality saturated fat sources. High fat red meat, butter, eggs, peanut butter, these are all some really good options. Remember, saturated fat isn't bad for you, and we'll be utilizing all of this in the gym and our zone 2 running session. We also want some good sources of poly and mono unsaturated fats, and avocados are the GOAT in this regard. I would eat them daily if you can. Also, varieties of nuts and seeds, as well as avocado oil, are really good sources. So that's everything related to diet. And now all we really need to talk about is just to make sure that your training is on point while doing this body recomp. So set a clear goal in both areas, running and gym. For me, I want to build a lean, aesthetic physique while also running the Mallorca Marathon, which is next week. This is going to make all these intense gym and running sessions and all this dieting so much easier. Now, to progress in both areas, we need to make sure we structure our gym and running properly. For example, do your easy runs after gym, never before. If you do it before, then this is going to affect the quality of your workout and you're not going to be able to go as hard. If you do it afterwards, you'll be able to get the benefits from both. Make sure your leg day is spaced well away from high intensity running sessions. This is because you need to allow recovery, and if you don't, you could get injured. So for me, I'll do my legs on either a Monday or a Thursday, depending what intense run I've got that week. And then I'll do my long run on the weekend. So you want to track your progress in all areas. Use the Strong app to make sure your sets and reps are improving. Take daily progress pictures to see how your physique's doing, and then use a fitness tracker like Strava to make sure your running times are getting better as well. Remember, recovery is vital with all this training. Lots of stretching, maybe consider getting a massage gun to help your legs recover. Also, yoga and meditation are really great ways to relieve the body and the mind. If you really want to improve your focus in gym, running, and daily life, then meditation is the one for you. Lastly, for training, consider a deload week if one area plateaus or regresses. If you followed everything else correctly from this video, then you might just need a rest. Finally, to finish, I really want to emphasize the point of how important it is to set goals. Your goals are your North Star. Whenever things get hard or you want to find ways to push yourself, all you got to do is remind yourself why you're doing it, and you'll be able to push through. Whenever you feel like it's too hard or unattainable, then just do a bit of research into what you're trying to achieve. There's so much information out there, and you can do it. So that's everything for this video. If you found this helpful, please like and subscribe. Thank you.